Good afternoon, fellow YouTubers and friends of Blaan and Gibson on Blaan Sarge's channel. This is the inaugural video of what will become a series on building models. Now, you can see that my model building area is somewhat organized and in somewhat a state of disarray. This is pretty normal. This is what it's going to look like most of the time. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over some basic tools of the trade. Now, the most basic thing that you're going to need to build a model kit is, in fact, the model kit itself. And model kits will run from $5 to $10 to $500 or $600. We'll be looking at some of those kits in a varied array. Before we get too much further in this, I'll show you an idea of kind of the stuff that I build. We have a Terrell Series P38 1/12 scale. This is from a series called Maschinenkrieger. It is called a Falk. Got another one of those to build. We've got some nice cars there. Got a lovely F-16. Double bonus points for this episode. Can you name the little white model that's in the back? We have my favorite car ever, which is a Nissan GT R35 M-Spec Nürburgring Edition in its own little case. We have my display case with a Toyota, an Acura, and some Ferraris. Been kind of on a Ferrari kick lately. And since we're panning around, let's take a look here. Down here, we've got some, we've got a 88C, a couple GTR 35s, old V2 rocket kit, some more model kits. We've got the HAW 206 that I'm working on. Over here are some of the kits that we're going to be building. We have an FA-18 Super Hornet, an F-15K Slam Eagle, the YF-19, the F-14 BD Tomcat low visibility. We have some expansion parts here. We have some fantasy aircraft there from Yamato 2199. We have the little robot from 2199, and the big kit that I have out here right now is the Star Blazers 2199 1/500th scale Space Battleship Yamato. This thing is going to be amazing, and it will be the focus of one of our build videos. So, back up here, so basic tools. I have a lot of tools, but then again, I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm going to show you the most basic tool you can build a model kit with. Believe it or not, it's this. I have built model kits with this. I know old guys who build model kits with this, some old telephone wire, and nail polish, and aluminum foil, and Elmer's glue that look like it took 100 hours. It's all about skill level. But a very basic, if you can go to the dollar store, if you can get yourself a pair of these, even better is actually a cuticle kit. It will have a pair of these, it will have some cuticle scissors, it'll have all kinds of stuff in it that can sub in for the higher dollar, more expensive tools. Now, what do I mean by the higher dollar, more expensive tools? Well, an actual tool is this. It's called a diagonal side cutter. It's also referred to as dikes. It is a proper name. Don't flame either of us in the comments. They are a bit inelegant for what we're doing. They're kind of big there. Now, what you will find in most model or hobby shops is something like this. These are about $13, $14. They got a very nice profile to them. They're very good snips. I've used these regularly and I like them. And then when you get insane, you can order something like this. This is actually from Tamiya, one of the best model makers in the world. These are about $50. And I ordered these from Japan, even though I probably could have got them locally. There's just that little cachet prestige of actually having a set that came from Japan directly. Now, additional types of tools. We have mitts and bombs. We have return force tweezers. I have an entire set of tweezers. We also have large clamp style tweezers. We have a set of hand files. We also have, and everybody will recognize this, a deluxe X-Acto knife set. This is the same type of X-Acto knife that you buy in the store. I just have a lot more tools because about 15 years ago on Father's Day, I was in my local hobby store, I had some money, and I figured, what the hell. Some less common tools. I don't know if you can see all the way over here. Should be able to. We have a Robarts paint shaker. Very, very good piece of equipment. Will save your wrists. Some uncommon stuff that you might not think of. If you have a sister, if you have a wife, if you know what a woman is because you saw one on television once, they like to get their nails done for the most part, as far as I'm aware. That's what my wife and my daughters have said. But I found out when I took my daughter to the nail salon that they have these great little sanding blocks that are perfect for round edges, for cleaning up stuff. And since I paint everything, these work fantastic. I have a buffing grit, a medium grit, and a fine grit. And then cups and bowls. We have some rattle cans over here. We'll get into what this is later. It's a really great lighting kit. Also, we have painting. Now, there are two types of airbrushes. I have them both. I have a Badger airbrush, and I have an Iwata, or Neo by Iwata. Now, the Badger airbrush is a 155 Anthem USA, and this is a draw type. This has a little, this right here goes in there, paint bottle goes in there, and you paint directly from the bottle. I like finishing with these. These are very nice. This is dual action. This turns it on, and this controls the flow of paint. A dual action brush is what you want. It's going to give you the finest control. It's going to let you do really great camo. I have done incredible models with the $30 airbrush that you can buy. That's the Badger starter kit that you power with compressed air that comes out of a can. You can absolutely do great kits like that. This brush, brand new, about $150. I've had it for 2 or 3 years. I clean this with Windex regularly. I have never had a problem with it. One of the guys who works at Badger, who helps design these things, he says you can use Windex in them and they'll be just fine. This is a Neo by Iwata, or Iwata, that I got off of Amazon on sale for about 60 bucks. This is a gravity feed. What it is you pour the paint in there. Now, I just got this recently, and I've just been using it, and I'm still getting used to it, but I really like this. It is super easy to clean. It is super easy to change paints. This is your cover. You pour your paint in there, and you put the cover on. You make sure it's on so you don't get that little hard slime over the top of your paint, which ruins it. Again, this is also dual action, on, backwards, and forwards, and there's a needle valve that runs through there. So those are the two types of airbrushes that are out there. I do have a compressor that I use outside. I don't like a paint spray booth just because I have kids and grandkids running around the house all the time. But yeah, this is kind of your general modeling area. Now, one of these cutting mats, absolutely essential. You're going to have your spacing, you have your charts. This is a fairly decent one. This is about $12 to $15. It's medium size. Some guys have some really huge ones. I've been working my way through these. These are going to be invaluable, especially if you're a Gundam or model robot builder, but just a builder in general. And what they are, and these are the really cheap ones. It was $5 for a pack of 50 on Amazon. And also, another very handy modeler's tool. I use these constantly. These are some assembly required, these little clips here. So I'm going to squeeze these nice and tight here and not pinch the snot out of myself, hopefully. And basically, what you get is a little stick that will hold your model parts securely while you work on them or spray paint them. These are amazing. Let me grab something real fast and I'll show you how prolific I am with these. This is a kit that I'm working on right now, and as you can see, it looks like a porcupine threw up robot parts. But like I said, you will absolutely swear by them once you get a set. Now, those are the basic tools of the trade. We have paints, glues. I have several types of glues here. First of all, I have the Tamiya Extra Fine Cement. This slightly melts plastic, but it does a fantastic job. It is paper thin. It is so nice. It is so convenient. I got that for $5.50 at my local hobby shop. Found it on Amazon for about $7.50. Then we have the standard Tamiya brush on cement. Basically, it's just cement in a little cup with brush on it. I love this stuff. It works fantastic. I have two. Now, some of the other things. We have Model Master glues. Now, there's two different types. There's the types with the metal tip that you do want, and there's the type with the plastic tip that works pretty good but is not super detailed. And none of these are as good as the brush. You can find these for $5 to $8 depending on which hobby shop you go to. The Tester Model Master series is excellent paint, excellent brushes. They have both oil and acrylic and excellent glue. It's very clean. And then there's this stuff. A lot of modelers don't use this simply because they don't know what it is or that it exists. It's for clear plastic parts. It's a little fussy to use, but it goes on. It's a lot thinner than what you're used to, and you use a very small dab of it, but it dries completely clear, so it's great for clear parts. Also, if you want to fill something in with a little window, you can, on the package, there's very clear instructions on how you can actually use this to create a clear window. Basically, it's almost like a soap bubble. You go around the edge, and it will dry hard, and then you just layer it up, and you will actually create a clear piece of plastic using this glue. It's very, very handy. Now, most of the stuff that I paint with is acrylic, but I do have some oil-based, simply because oil-based works better in some instances. Got some nice Tamiya putty here. This is the putty that I use exclusively. If you can't get this, there are other stuff out there. A lot of people have a big thing about milliput. I can't stand the stuff. It's too thick. It's too heavy. It's hard to work with. This stuff is butter. I love it. I use a lot of Tamiya paints. I use Vallejo paints. Pretty much have to get these online. I may be switching out from the paints to something else. Their primer is amazing. I got this online for about $20. I delivered on Amazon. Do not ever thin this. Don't ever thin it. It will crack, it will flake, it will look like crap. So don't thin it. They also have black primer. The nice thing about Vallejo is they super fine grind their pigments for airbrushes, and they have dozens of colors of primer, and because of the way it's done, you can mix and match your own. We have some nice rattle cans here. I don't use these a lot. These are actually for something that I helped a friend of mine build. This is automotive car wax. When I finish building any type of a model with a gloss finish, I actually hand buff it the same way I would a car. Also, nice office supplies. You have your bulldog clips for doing missiles, whatever, what have you. Another nice thing for clamping stuff down. And then masking tapes. A lot of builders I've been seeing lately use the Tamiya brand masking tape. I love Tamiya stuff. This is cheaper by volume, and I find that it works better, and I can customize it a lot more. Where I would use 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 rolls of the Tamiya mask. I bought this 2 years ago, and I masked the crap out of everything. But other than that, those are kind of the basic tools of the trade. You have paint brushes. You want to make sure your brush is the right type of brush for your paint. Acrylic brushes need acrylic paint. Oil paints need oil brushes. Very simple, very straightforward. You can go to your local craft store, and there should be at least one person there who can help you figure that stuff out. But other than that, these are the basic things that you're going to need to build a highly detailed model kit. Remember, you can build an absolutely functional model kit with just these. And my grandsons, I bought them model kits, and they literally just take the part and they twist it till it comes off the sprue. That works too. But when you start wanting to get some detail, you can go from as little as this for $1 or $2, $13 to $15, all the way up to $50. I have seen some of these that cost $200 or $300. They are insane. I might buy a pair and show you. Just depends. I am, yes, that crazy. So again, for those of you who have watched Blaine, I am Gibson, sober and building models. I don't get drunk all the time, and I usually do that for Blaine's channel when he's recording. But hey, we all gotta blow off steam sometime. Oh, another helpful tool. As you get older, you start to go blind. Your palms get a little hairy. Oh no, wait, that's something else. This is a work stand. You have a magnifying lens, you have a light. Now normally this is plugged in, but it's not plugged in right now because I'm not using it. It's got its own base. Incredibly useful tool, especially when you're doing fine detail work. But other than that, yes, those are the basic tools of the trade. Sandpaper as always is welcome. Don't forget your little sanding blocks. Wet sand, dry sand, fine grit. And the biggest thing is, the biggest two things, you have to be patient. When I gloss coat something, I seal it in a box for a week and don't look at it. I literally put it in a box, put a lid on it, put it on a shelf, and don't touch it for a week to let the paint cure. I get the most incredible paint finishes that way. And also, nothing that you build is ever going to look as good to you as it does to other people. Because you put in the time and the energy and you look and you know what's wrong with it. It's just human nature. You're going to see the flaws. Other people are going to walk up and look at your work and they're just going to, you're going to think they're screwing around. You're like, oh my God, that looks amazing. How did you do that? That's so awesome. You will always see the flaws in your work. As a craftsman, that's what you're going to see. Use that to drive you to make better models. Remember, other people are always going to see the amazing job that you can't most of the time. When you start thinking everything that you do looks great, then you're ready to run for public office. So thank you very much for joining us today. Please post any comments, questions. We will answer them. If you have a model kit that you saw on the shelf and you're like, oh my God, build that, we'll take those suggestions as well. But until next time, this is William Gibson signing off, and you guys have a great day.